Welcome to Jenkins UI. Let's have a quick glance on the various features and various items that are available on Jenkins UI. So let's begin with the top menu bar. So it consists of only two options, a search box, and then security notification and account, whose account it is, account name. And if you want to just log out to the another, so you can log out, that's one. And after that you have a Jenkins dashboard. The remaining thing is a Jenkins dashboard. If you want to add some description to your and then save. So you see that I'm a tech freak. Okay, so that's what description. So now come to the left menu bar, left vertical menu bar. The first one is to create a job. It could be a pipeline, or it could be some other thing, but it's just to create. Either it could be a freestyle project or pipeline or multi-configuration project or folder or multi-branch pipeline, whatever it may be. Here to create a job could be a freestyle project or a pipeline. So here you see this, the welcome to Jenkins page. So this page is where your Jenkins jobs will be displayed. To get started, you can set up distributed builds or start building a software project. If you click on create project, same result as click on new item, and create project will give you the same result. See, it will take you to the same window, that project window. So let me click to dashboard, back to the dashboard. So here you have set up a distributed build, so you can set up an agent or configure to the cloud, whatever the way. So these are to work on external entities. For example, to set up an agent, in this case you can run like slave concept, a client and then master and slave. You can have, for example, you have a main Jenkins and you have another server there, Jenkins also installed. You want to run a project from this, whatever pipeline that you build, you want to distribute some of the pipelines to that, and you want to run that server or that agent to run your pipeline. So that also will be possible, using this agent concept. So set up a distributed build. So that's how we do it. So this is about this welcome page. And let's come back to this. So new item or create job is same. Then we have a pupil. So here how many accounts or how many users are logged into this system. So that's what we'll get it here. You can see that at this moment user ID is admin, that's what I gave, and the name Surya Charan Teja. And so last commit activity is nothing there, so because still we haven't started. It includes all known users, including the login identities, with which the current security realm can enumerate, as well as the pupil mentioned in the commit messages in recorded change logs. Okay, so then we have a build history. The next item in the menu bar is build history. So here you will find your builds, all the pipeline, whatever the pipelines that you have built so far will be shown here on this window. So that's why it's a build history of Jenkins. Then we have a manage Jenkins. This page is very important. Before we come to this manage Jenkins item in vertical menu bar, I will go to the my views first, because it's similar to, so my views here, whatever pipeline that you built, so all those will be reflected here. So you can click on build history. It's specifically related to that. Whatever pipelines that are built by Surya Charanteja, this account, because in this Jenkins server, you can have multiple accounts. So multiple accounts can create their multiple pipelines. So each pipeline is specific to that account. So that is the reason. So my views means the builds that you have done, the builds that you have done will be reflected in my views. You can see that if you click on your account, you have only one, and you can click on build history, and let me get back to the my view. So you see create job. So as so far you haven't created anything, so that's why there is no job. So you see that this folder is empty. Okay, let me get back to the dashboard directly. So build queue, no build queue, it's completely empty. Build executor status idle. If you have any build, it would have shown executor build executor status whether in green or red. If it is successful, it's green. If it is not working, if there are some errors, that would be in red. So that's how it shows. That's all about the vertical menu bar on left side. So now we are going to explore the manage Jenkins, because this is the power engine. This is the engine of this Jenkins. This is the power source. This is the power source of Jenkins, the manage Jenkins. It consists of all, means all. So this manage Jenkins consists of four sections. The first one is system configuration, then security section, then status information, and finally you have troubleshooting. And the last but not least, this is not widely used, that's tools and actions. So this is not widely used by us. Okay, so Jenkins CLI, you can get it, script console, and all that information, everything you can get when you click on Jenkins CLI. So open link in new tab. You see, to get this you have to use this socket, this link in your browser, in your Windows PowerShell, or maybe Linux terminal, whatever it may be. So that's how you get it. Okay, let me close this one. It's not required. So this section is not that important for us. Not at all. I'm not saying it is not at all important. It is not important for us at this moment. Okay. So the first four sections are very important. So, and if you see one ribbon, one news banner on top, building on the built-in node can be a security issue. You should set up distributed builds. Distributed distributed builds. You see that, set up an agent, set up a cloud. So you can easily set up your cloud from here. You can configure to your cloud, or you can set up an agent to work, to do your builds as a slave. That's a setup agent. So now let's look into the system configuration first. What all items that system configuration consists of? It consists of a system configuration. So here, what is system configuration? You have, it's nothing but configuring your system by installing new tools, by managing plugins, by managing nodes and clouds. So it's the complete, that's what the most important activities that we do for the Jenkins will be presented in, are presented in Jenkins configuration. So it begins with a configure system. So let me click on configure system. So here you can configure your system. You can attach the home directory. By default, Jenkins stores all of its data in this directory. That's what now you see. We have seen that var lib Jenkins. So if you do not know, so let me do that again. Let me show it again. ls clear cd var lib and cd Jenkins. You see that everything almost secret.key, secrets, updates, users, user account. Let me get into the users if you want. You see that admin, you have admin, that's it. And cat user.xml, you have admin account. This is the main account, nothing else. So version and admin account, you can see that here. So this is what the default home directory for Jenkins. Jenkins home directory is where lib Jenkins. So if you want to configure this, if you want to change, if you want to do some changes here, you can do that. And you can see that Jenkins URL and system admin email address. At this moment it's not there, you can mention here. And server resource files from another domain, you can give the resource root URL if you want to fetch it from somewhere else. And global properties, tool locations, and default speed, durability level, and folder health metrics, and global build timeout, Gradle enterprise integration, timestamper, fingerprints, build GitHub. Here you can set up your GitHub server. Just click on GitHub server. So it's asking name of the GitHub server and give the URL, API URL, and add the credential, and that's it. Your GitHub server will be ready. And GitHub API, so Git plugin here. So you can give the shell SMTP for the mails. So a lot. So here you have to configure, and you can use email notification if you have a SMTP server. So you can, so it's like to configure your system or to connect your system with the external one. So that's what the main important one. So global. So yeah. So then after the configure system, it's configure global settings and paths. Then we have a global tool configuration. This is very important. In this section in system configuration system section, the widely used items are global tool configuration and manage plugins. Let me get into global tool configuration. So here the most of the activities will be done after the installing your tools. You have to connect those tools with the Jenkins. How do you do that? You will do that through this section. So when you install your plugins, so here see, you got the Gradle, you got Ant, you got Maven. How did you get it? You got it because you have installed the plugin. So once you install your plugin, so that will be reflected here, and you can add the exact location of the tool. You can connect the tool. Maybe for example, you take some Maven tool. The Maven is installed in a server. So now the Maven, if you want to run the Maven tool, so you have to connect that Maven tool with your Jenkins. Yes or no? So how do you connect? So to connect with your Maven tool, you have to install the Maven plugin first. Once the plugin is installed, so this like Gradle is appeared. Similarly, the Maven will be appeared like this. In this part, you have to write the name of the tool. Maybe I will write Maven, and then you have to give the home address of the Maven. So that's how we connect our tools with Jenkins. So that's the reason it's a tool configuration. It's connecting the tools with the Jenkins. You're going to give the home directory of the tool to the tool to the Jenkins, so that Jenkins can access the tool and can use the tool for the building the pipes or pipelines. You see whatever plugins that we have installed. So Maven configuration, you see that Maven configuration. Then you see JDK, Java Development Kit. You can add JDK here in tool configuration. Then you see Git. We have installed the Git, and you can give the Git tool also, Gradle and Ant. And finally, you have a Maven tool itself. You can add a Maven tool. You see that. So it's asking name. I will give Maven. Then after that you can install this tool automatically if you want. So it directly get into the Apache repository and it will bring and it will install. That's one way. Or you can install this Maven in some other Linux server and put the Maven home address, home directory. Maven home directory may look like / user bin and maybe Maven. So this is how it looks once you give this kind of directory to this. So automatically it goes and it access the Maven. It brings the Maven and it runs the pipeline. So that's how the tool configuration is very helpful, and this is ultimately used. So then after that we have a manage plugins. This is also very important. So from here you can install your plugins. Let me go through this quickly. So on left side you have five. So one is updates. At this moment you do not have any updates. Then available plugins, there are a lot of available plugins, huge. So okay, huge amount of plugins are there. Available plugins, these are all available plugins. Now install plugins we can check. Now let me click on install plugins. So how many maybe around 19 plugins we have installed. So these are all installed plugins. So okay, and some are enabled, some are not enabled, but there are a lot of installed plugins. Then advanced settings in this plugins. So if you want to get if you want to have some HTTP proxy configuration, basically it's you have some plugins, and if you want to bring those plugins or download the plugins from your own HTTP proxy server. Basically proxy is mainly used as a download server. You will deploy some data there and people can download. That's called a proxy server. So that's what he's saying, like instead of downloading the plugins from Jenkins repository, you can directly create your own proxy configuration and you can download your plugins from your place. For that you have to set it here. So let's get into the available plugins, and let me type dashboard view. Okay, this one I will select. What it does, customizable dashboard that can present various views of job information. So 2 months 25 days before it was created, and it was, so it's for UI. So let me install without restart. So installation is going on, checking the internet connectivity. So its preparation is fine. So now it has installed a lot of tools in it. So checks API, and finally, so go back to the page. You can start using the installed plugin right away. Restart Jenkins when installation is complete and no jobs are running. So let us go back to the page, or let's restart it. So now please wait while Jenkins is restarting. For most of the plugins it's better to restart so that all whatever changes that you have done will be exactly applied to your Jenkins application. So let's wait till it gets restarted. So it's asking me password. I would give the password. Let me sign in. Yes. Yeah, after installation there is not much of change of the dashboard. It will be when you build your first pipeline, that time you could see the changes in that pipeline, in that stage view. Okay, so let me get into the dashboard one more time and manage Jenkins. So that's how your manage plugins basically add, remove, disable or enable plugins that can extend the functionality of Jenkins. Whereas global tool configuration, it configure tools, their locations and automatic installers. And we have manage nodes and clouds, add, remove, control add, remove, control, and monitor the various nodes that Jenkins runs it. See, it's a built-in node, Linux. So if you want, you can create a new node just by clicking here and giving the node name and connecting with that. Okay, let me get back to the dashboard. I don't want to do that at this moment, and take me back to manage Jenkins. Yes, I am here. So this is what about the system configuration. Then we have security. What is security? So here we have the security consists of four sections: as configure global security, manage credentials, configure credential providers, and finally the manage users. Now let me go to the configure global security. So this provides a secure Jenkins define who is allowed to access or use the system. That's what the configure global security. So now we have entered. So you have a authentication method. So there are agents. If it is an agent, so you have to use either of the method, random or fixed. If it is disabled in CSRF protection, so all, if it is Git, you can use Git tokens, access token. If it is Git hooks, so from here you can do that. And API token, you see that API token, through API, enable API token usage status. If it is SSH server, if you want to access this server using some other server through agent connections, if it is SSH, so this here you have to put fixed or random, and you have to configure. So git host key verification. So these are all, basically these are all different ways for different options of entering inside the server, managing the Jenkins. Okay, so that's the global configure global security. It defines who is allowed to access or use the this Jenkins server. So then we have manage credentials. This is again widely used here. We can add credentials to other systems who wants to uh, access, who wants to use our Jenkins as a part of pipeline. So if you have to click on add credential, and you will find different types of credentials. You can see that here. That's about the credential. You can add a new credential. These are global settings. It's widely used. Then we have configure credential providers. So configure the credential provider type. So here you can have different, either different types of if you have a specific system who can provide credentials, so that credential providers can also be used by configuring this. Then manage users. Here you can create or delete or modify a user account. So here I will create a new user, saying this time I'll say Charan, and password, and confirm password, full name. Then I would give, okay, and let me create a user. That's it. User has been created. Then let me uh, use the same. Let me try to log into the system with the, yeah, directly we reached. So here let me log out in this, and let me use that, the new user that we have created, and keep me signed in for even this. Yes, see, this is Charan Teja, and this is a new account. You are able to log into the system. So that's what I'm saying. Okay, so now let me delete this account, because in spite of modifying it, delete Jenkins user. Yes, http error 400 cannot delete self. Okay, let me close this. Let me log out from here and close this. Yeah, so now let me get back. This is, so now let me try to delete this. Yes, yes, it's done. So now let's get back to the manage Jenkins, and we have seen the configure credential providers and manage users also. This is what a security section consists of. Then we have a status information. Here we'll get a system information. It displays various environmental information to assist troubleshooting. You see that AWT toolkit, Java class path, Java home. You see hidden value, click to show this value. So normally this is where your Java home Java directory. So to place this in your tool configuration, so global tool configuration, there you have to give the Java home directory. See, user lib jvm. So there you will have a Java binary file. You have to give this directory. So then similarly, we can find some other tools. So these facts will get it from here. Jetty, JNA, line, os.name, os.arc, os.name on Linux, os.version. It's this one. It's AWS, no? Yeah, AWS. Correct. User time zone, user home, user directory, user C, where lib Jenkins. This is the user. Username is Jenkins. Time zone is etc UTC. Okay, that's what about system information. And let's look into the environment variable. Here you could see the environment variable that we are going to use. Anyway, we are going to use these environment variables in our pipelines when we build our pipelines. That time we can use. So what is home? So home is where lib Jenkins invocation ID. This Jenkins home is this again, journal stream, lang, log name, path, pwd, shell, user. So this is environment variables, and you can find, or you can see the plugin, various plugins, a lot of plugins. The list is huge. Then memory usage, you can see the memory usage of your app thread dumps. So that's what a system information. You'll get it. You can, it displays various environmental information to assist troubleshooting. Because when you want to, if you face some issues, then you have to troubleshoot. Then how will you do that? You have to come to the status information and you have to click on respective things, and you can find out, you can sort out the issue. Then we have system log. System log captures output from java.util.log output related to the Jenkins. Let me click on all Jenkins log. So here you can find the complete Jenkins log. So what we have done, Jenkins home directory, then started, Jenkins has been started. So started server and Winstone engine running, started initialization, listed plugins and prepared all plugins, started all plugins. You can see whatever activities that we have done, all has been shown here clearly. Then we will look into load statistics. Check your resource utilization and see if you need more computers for your build. If you require more space, more resources for your build, you can cross check it. Number of online executor, but at this moment it's completely stable because we haven't used, we haven't done so much. Short, and I'll keep it medium, and we'll come back to this when we are working on this. Okay, let's get back to the manage Jenkins again and get back to the status information section, and finally you have about Jenkins section. So if you click on this, here you will get the complete information about Jenkins, Mavenized dependencies, static resources, font awesome. Okay, the what fonts are using and all, these are all not that important. So license and dependency information for plugins. So that's what a status information consists of. And finally, the next thing that we use is troubleshooting. So manage all data, scrub confirmation files to remove remnants. So this is what manage vault data, and this is also we use for the troubleshooting. And finally you have tools and actions. So this consists of a reload configuration from disk, discard all the loaded data in memory, and relate and reload everything from file system, useful when you modified config files directly on disk. Then we have seen Jenkins CLI anyway, access or manage Jenkins from your shell, from your script. So using Jenkins CLI, for that you have to have this Jenkins CLI command. Then you have script console executes arbitrary script for administration or troubleshooting or diagnostics. And finally we have to prepare for set shutdown, stops executing new builds. And if you want to shut it down completely, so we can use that, and you can mention when to be shut down. So this is all about your user interface of and various sections and features and activities that can be done, tasks that can be done. And these are the things which are available on Jenkins UI.